Hello friends, this is Hedda. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new bullet journal setup. I actually have to move into a new journal for the last 4 months of the year, but I'll be completely honest, I haven't really had the time or the capacity to actually set up the yearly spreads in this notebook, so I'm kind of just skipping past those for now and doing the September spreads first, and then I will come back to do the yearly spreads later. I don't know if I will make a YouTube video about it. I might just make short form videos just to change it up a little bit. For September, I created these stickers for my patrons. My theme for this month is very much inspired by Art Nouveau or Art Deco, this very specific art style from like the early 1900s. I have just never made anything like this before, so it was a really fun project. I drew these digitally and then I printed out some of the art pieces that I made for my patrons on this washi paper that has gold and silver specks in it. It's so pretty. I don't even know if the video is doing it justice, because when I cut them out and I was like looking at them in the light, I was like, this is beautiful. And so I decided to use one of them on the cover page. I actually don't think I've drawn this many large pieces for my patrons before. It took such a long time because I wanted to draw all these girls, or like I wanted to draw goddesses really. I was inspired by Art Deco, specifically Alphonse Mucha. He was a Czech artist and I wanted my art pieces to clearly show my inspiration from him, but also like have my own distinct art style. I think I succeeded. You guys will have to let me know. I drew 6 different goddesses with the frames and the background and everything. And the reason why I chose this particular one was because it fit the layout of the page the best. I tried a few different layouts or like different widths and heights, and all of them are really beautiful, but this is the one that kind of fit my traveler's notebook the best, in my opinion. The traveler's notebook, although it is as tall as an A5 roughly, it is a lot slimmer. So for it to cover most of the left page on my cover page, I went for this red-headed goddess. For the right side, I'm making a little dashboard kind of for the month of September. So I have this title, I'm stamping some butterflies. I used a gold stamp, it's so pretty. It is the Dewdrop Brilliance Pigment Ink in Galaxy Gold. I got this one in Japan and it is so pretty. It's definitely a more yellow gold, so keep that in mind if that's something that you dislike or like. Everyone's different here. I made a little calendar for the month of September. I used a brown fine liner for this. This is the Uni-pin fine line. And then I glued down some of the other stickers that I drew for my patrons this month. I printed out a lot of the stickers to use myself because honestly, this month has been a little bit difficult for me. I don't want to say too much, but there's a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, and with me drawing all of these stickers for my patrons for the monthly journaling kit that I do every month, I was feeling very unmotivated to make my own September spreads, which really it shouldn't be that way because I make the journaling kits to make it easier to make my setups, you know, but I think I just hit a wall and I was delaying making this video, and that's also why it is coming out so late in August, because I just didn't want to, and that makes me really sad because September is a very special month for me. I mean, it is my birthday month and it's the first fall month, and I just really like September, and so maybe I put a little bit too much pressure on myself to make my own setup this big amazing thing when I should have just done it very simple. And I mean, that's what I ended up doing. This is very simple for me, I think. very simple and straightforward. When I look at the footage that I have for this setup, it's only a little bit over an hour. So it took me roughly 2 hours to make this, which is a lot shorter than my other setups this year. All things considered, I actually think that my September setup turned out really nice, and I am very pleased with it, and I'm kind of proud of myself for powering through even though I really didn't want to. And I know you're gonna say that, oh, you don't have to do it, or, you know, take care of yourself and don't pressure yourself or whatever, because you guys are really nice people. I can honestly say everyone who leaves comments on my videos, all of my patrons, everyone who follows me, you're all really nice people, and I feel very safe with you all. And I'm not pushing myself because I'm worried that you will be disappointed, because I know that you would understand even if I didn't manage to get this video out before the end of August, or at all even. I know that you would be forgiving and understanding, because that's what you have shown me in the past. So I'm very grateful for that. I think that I just needed to get this done for myself, kind of show myself that I could do it, even though things are a little bit difficult at the moment. And I'm very proud of myself for doing it. Also, September would be even harder if I didn't have my bullet journal to keep me on track, because I have a lot going on in September. So yeah, I definitely need these spreads like I do every month. So that was my cover page. Now we can move on to my calendar spread. I decided to use one of the other goddesses that I drew to, I guess, cover up a lot of this spread as well. I decided to go for a similar calendar layout as I did in June and July, because I really liked that layout. So I'm just changing it up a little bit, but it's mostly staying the same. I made each daily rectangle a rectangle instead of a square, basically. So they are a little bit larger than I did them in June and July, so I have a little bit more space. But my plan is to not fill my calendar spread with that much information, kind of just do some keywords here and there, and then the main planning will be happening in the weekly spreads, which I will be trying to set up as soon as possible, like just get all of them done all at once, so that I have the whole month laid out before me when the month starts. To color in the rectangles, I used 2 shades of yellow and a little bit of orange. These are both from Ohuhu, and they are both in the skin tone set, I think. They have this 36 pack of markers that are supposed to be kind of skin tone based, and these are both in there. It is really hard to match my marker colors with digital colors, like digital art that I draw on my iPad and then I print it out, and then the colors, they are hard to match. But I think that these soft kind of pastel-y orange and yellow shades, I think they worked really well, and I'm glad that I chose these instead of some other shades that I was thinking of that would have given the spread a very different expression. For example, there is a lot of blue actually in my journaling kit this month, or like turquoise, so I could have definitely leaned more towards the turquoise part, but I chose the yellow because, well, yellow is my favorite color after all. I used my Uni-pin again to do the days of the month, but then for the title I decided to go with my Copic multiliners in Sepia. Although these are both brown fine liners, the Copic ones are definitely more orange or more true sepia than the Uni-pin one. The Uni-pin one is very dark brown and it doesn't have as much red in it, while the Copic multiliner definitely has more red. I was struggling a little bit with, filling everything and making it not be that streaky, so it was a little bit tricky, but it helped that I have this pen in many different sizes, so I could kind of alternate between the different sizes. And if you're curious about this font, it is a type of font, or at least inspired by, similar to fonts that I have seen around on the internet whenever Art Deco is involved, and so I wanted it to feel very appropriate for the art style that I wanted to go for. My setup is definitely not that strictly Art Deco, but it does have hints of it here and there, and that's kind of what I wanted as well. I didn't want to be very strict about my setup so that I could only use elements from Art Deco and try to make it as Art Deco as possible. Instead, I wanted to have it feel like one of my other setups, like what I would normally do, but with some elements from Art Deco. At the bottom here, I wanted to have a small section for some important notes or important dates of the month. So I decorated it with a little bit of washi tape. This one with gold flowers on it, one of you guys sent to me in the mail. And Notebook Therapy has actually been sending me quite a few new things lately. One of them being this kind of sun-inspired washi tape. It's from the Sunlit Mystery washi tape set, and it's gorgeous, and I thought it was fitting. Although I wasn't going for kind of sun goddess theme here, I was actually going for more of a earth goddess theme. It's probably not that clear from my spreads, but the sticker that I made for my patrons, or the sticker sheet, I should say, that I made for my patrons, I actually have one of the goddesses kind of holding the globe, and that was kind of my hint at the theme for them earlier on this month, because I sent out the happy mail earlier on in the month. But besides that, it's been pretty subtle, so I think that this theme can definitely be interpreted in many ways. I also have some hints towards Virgo, because I am a Virgo and a lot of people born in September are Virgos, and I'm not huge on astrology like that, but it still was like a big part of my childhood because it was very important what kind of astrology sign you had in at least my group of friends. So this is just me embracing Virgo, which, let's be real, is not the coolest sign to be when you're a kid, especially not in Norwegian, because the word Virgo and virgin is the same in Norwegian. So it was just kind of lame, even though we were 10-year-olds. You know, we didn't know what it meant. Honestly, I find that most of my art is just me revisiting my childhood or just reflecting on my childhood, processing my childhood. That is really all I'm doing. Anyway, this spread I think turned out really nice. The important section is very small at the bottom, but it will just hold a few of the most important things that are happening in September for me. And then as a final detail, I guess, I used my Ohuhu silver and gold gel pens to make some sparkles here and there, and I decided to mix gold and silver because of the washi paper that I used when printing out my goddesses, because the paper has both gold and silver. So I was just kind of trying to lean into that and incorporating both gold and silver. The last spread that I am setting up in this video, and the last monthly spread I am making for September, is this combined habits, like habit tracker and task list. I like combining spreads like this because most of the time I don't need an entire spread for either of these. I mean, my task lists can get pretty big, but I decided to make it a little bit smaller for September. I took some inspiration from some Art Deco frames and kind of dividers, I guess, that I've seen on the internet, and I used my gold gel pen also from Ohuhu for these, and I think that it was an interesting color choice. So it's a lot softer than using black or dark brown, for example, and I think that it turned out quite nice. I did use dark brown for the little calendars that I am making for my habit tracker though, just so that those would be very clear, and I also filled them in with color later on, so it would have looked a little bit strange to do that in gold. The September calendar just looks really funny because it starts on a Sunday and ends on a Monday. But yeah, I guess that's just how it is. Some months don't look as satisfying as others. For the title, I couldn't really fit habit tracker or habits at the top, so I decided to split the word in half because it has 6 letters. So I did habits like this, like you can see it here. It's interesting. I don't mind it necessarily. So yeah. It definitely helps that my left and right page here on the spread are very different. So it doesn't really matter if it's not symmetrical, I guess. Sometimes when I make split spreads like this, I like to make them kind of symmetrical, especially with the headers and everything. Symmetrical just looks nice to me. But in this case, because on the right page it will be a little bit different, you'll see in a sec, I think that it looks okay. So I used some of these butterfly stamps from Notebook Therapy. This is from a really old stamp set of theirs. I think one of the first ones that they made. It's really old. I don't think they have it for sale anymore, but it has these pretty little butterflies, and they just fit really well with the spread and also the theme overall, because I did draw a lot of butterflies for this theme as well. And the goddess that I chose, she actually has the Virgo constellation on her back, like a little tattoo, so that is another little hint to Virgo. On the right side of the spread, I'm going to have my task list. So here I decided to do a simple tasks title at the top, and then I went searching online for Art Deco frames, and they will often have these elaborate corners and geometrical shapes. I think Art Deco is somewhat inspired by maybe Chinese art. I feel like I've seen similar frames, or at least somewhat similar frames, in Chinese art as I have in Art Deco, but I haven't studied art history. I don't know very much about this. To be honest, I know very little about Art Deco as well. I love looking at art and consuming art, but I don't have much patience for learning about art history, unfortunately. But despite my lack of knowledge, I think that I have managed to put together a theme that hints at Art Deco at least, or is kind of a tribute to Art Deco and Alphonse Mucha more than anything. I really like how all of my spreads turned out. I like how simple they are. For some of you, they might not scream simple, and for others, they will. I think that that is up for interpretation, and it's different for everyone. I hope that you enjoyed watching me setting up these spreads, and if you want to get some of these stickers, they are available on my Patreon, and they will be available for, well, as long as I have a Patreon, I suppose. I don't delete journaling kits off of Patreon. But in other really big news, I have launched pre-orders for this year's advent calendar. Last year I did an advent calendar. It was really fun, my biggest project of the year, and this year I'm doing it again, and I couldn't be more excited. There is an early bird discount for anyone who pre-orders before September 8th. This is pretty much for me to find out how many I need to make, because I'm using the money from the pre-orders to actually produce the advent calendars, because they are expensive to make. There are a lot of different products. I'm definitely moving outside of my comfort zone, making stuff I have never made before, so I am very excited. Things are in production, things are happening, and you can find it on my website, ikigaipapir.com. So please check it out. It would make me so happy. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to click the like button on this video and click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this from me. Thank you so much to everyone who watches my videos, and a big thank you to my patrons. Of course, you guys are the best. I hope that you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!